guys, it's Bren with Kindred Acres Homestead. I just wanted to do a video today about an herb that we're growing in our garden that is so amazing. I love it so much, and I just have to share it with you because I think it's just such an important herb to have as a homesteader. But before I go any further, I do want to add a few things here. One, I want to say thank you to our follower who took note that the link that we had below in our videos and blog posts was to the wrong Kindred Acres Facebook page. I don't know how that happened. It's quite embarrassing, but you know what? We got it fixed. It was for a wedding venue off in Illinois, another Kindred Acres page. But we got it fixed. So if in the past you clicked on that link and clicked follow, be sure to go down below now and click the right link and follow us on Facebook. Thank you so much for catching that and letting us know. I also want to add that anytime we're doing videos or talking about medicinal herbs or any herb, whether taken internally or topically, it is your responsibility to do your due diligence. Double check the information, check with your healthcare practitioner, make sure before you take any herb, internally or externally, that it's okay for you and your healthcare situation. It could be something that might interact with any medications you're on or may interact with some type of health-related issue that you have. So it's your responsibility to make sure that anytime you do any medicinal herbs that it's right for you. Now that being said, today I want to share with you a little information about a herb called yarrow. Now what I'm speaking about specifically today is white yarrow, also known as common yarrow. Yarrow comes in a multitude of colors and varieties, but not all of them are usable. Some of them are actually toxic to take internally. So again, we're speaking specifically about common or white yarrow. And also don't forget to do your due diligence and read up on. So this is our white yarrow. Now we planted it only last season, so it's still a very young plant, but you'll see here, yarrow does send out little babies. So here's one little baby. There were a couple in here that I've uprooted to pot as well. Let's see here. Here's a few more. You'll notice here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it can spread, and some might even consider it invasive, but I'm fine with it spreading. Now, if you want to have it in your garden or a specific area and you don't want it to spread further than the area that you've dedicated, what you can do is what we did here is we trenched around the garden a nice deep and very wide trench and backfill it with mulch, and the yarrow won't, or at least so far hasn't for us, come through that area because there's no active soil in that spot. So that's just one way. And the other thing is you can always just put it in a pot and keep it in a pot if you're concerned with it spreading. I'm not so concerned because I can always pop them up and share them, sell them, use them. But there's a multitude of uses for this plant. So it does have a ferny-like look. Now I will recommend that you do not harvest this in the wild without knowing 100% for sure what you have, because there are poisonous lookalikes. So personally, me, if I'm not completely educated on pinpointing all the differences between poisonous lookalikes on a plant, I would prefer to just make sure I harvest only from my garden where I know it's a cultivated variety that I purposefully planted, and go from there. But that's up to you and your choice. Now, the reason yarrow is so good for the garden is it sends very, very deep roots, deep down into the soil and pulls up nutrients from far below, and it makes it readily available in the soil for other plants to use, which also makes it a great chop and drop. So you can just pinch off a handful, break off a handful of leaves and drop it around the base of other plants to compost down and feed those plants, and it's loaded with nutrients for your garden, and it grows so super fast that honestly we've been harvesting and chopping this thing down so much you wouldn't even notice that we've pulled from it and cut from it. I love the look of it too, and it's so pretty, and soon it should start shooting up its flowers, and the flowers are great for the pollinators. The bees and butterflies absolutely love them. Now, other uses for yarrow, again, you don't want to take the yellow yarrow internally
It's toxic. The white and the red yarrow are okay to use for teas and poultices topically. So I've used these for cuts. It's actually been used in wartime situations. They would break up the leaves and mash them to get like a poultice basically, but now if you have time and the equipment, you can use a mortar and pestle, or blend it up in a blender with some coconut oil to get as much extract out of it as possible, and you'll rub it on your cuts, and it actually helps it to stop bleeding. It has a compound in there that actually helps to coagulate your blood, so it'll help with bleeding cuts. It also has natural antimicrobials in it, so it helps to fight bacteria and infection. It actually works wonderfully on bruises. I actually banged my leg really hard not long ago on the edge of the table, and I had a huge bruise. I mean, it was on my leg right here, about this big around. It's a very big bruise and very painful. I actually couldn't even move my leg without feeling it, and I just mashed this up really well. I applied it, and it really helps heal the bruise very quickly and take some pain away. It's also wonderful for colds and flus. They say a lot of the medicinal herb books that I have, and even a book of Native American medicinal herbs, talk about this plant having actually about 120 different medicines in just this one plant. So it's such a widely versed plant that you can use it for so many different things. Now there are precautions, so again, make sure you do your research. It is an herb that can coagulate the blood, so if you're on medications or have a disability, or I should say not a disability but a genetic condition called MTHFR, and you're susceptible to clotting, then it's something that you need to use with caution, and any other health condition. So just like I said, make sure you do your research. Do not take my word for it. Make sure that this is right for you. We love this plant. We plant it for purposes of using chop and drop and nutrients for the garden, but also medicinally, so something worthy of looking into.
Okay, so now that we explored the multitude of uses of yarrow, I hope you consider growing it on your homestead. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate all the love and support. So thanks again, with love from Kindred Acres.